We are now live. Going to the be right back.
I am hardlined, so that's a good
Oh,
thing.
yeah, you got some power. You got some power up in there. All right, let me get all this shit moved so I can get to the sound effects.
It's such a shame you can't see what finger I'm holding up.
There we go, BGFG. All right, you ready to get stewarded?
We're good.
Cool. We got the countdown going. Everything's looking good. 5 by 5. All right. In 5, 4.
It's time for BGFG.
Gonads are useful for their purpose, but they are no substitute for brains.
All right, here we go.
I have to say, well done. Great. Well done. Well played, my adversary. Well played.
Phoenix isn't gay, but if he was, he'd pick FreeMoz.
Oh yeah, he'd be living down there with you in the bunker, man. Woo!
Once you go free, you always do the Z.
Like one day I'm not going to Duncan and you could get a controller, a new Xbox, possibly even a cord.
And now the group that can't count its nuts and come up with the same number twice.
That is a fact. Welcome to BGFG, episode
Oh,
357. I'm your host, Chris Phoenix, and joining me, as always, my brother from another mother, Mr. FreeMoz. How are you doing this week, sir?
We're doing good. Doing good.
Yeah,
We
how's
got a
that
little-
hand?
Got a little brace thing
it's-
going on now.
It's thinner. It's not the punching. It's not the glove anymore.
No.
That's good. That's a good sign. You know, you do physical therapy too.
Twice a week for the next month and a half. I've already been doing it for 3 weeks.
Just having you stretch your fingers and shit.
Yeah, had a little setback earlier this week.
What was the setback?
I lifted something I shouldn't have. I'll tell you about that offline, but I basically pulled apart part of the wound, opened it back up on one spot.
Oh, that I bet you that didn't tickle.
No, it did not feel good at all.
Not even a little.
But a little bit of super glue, and we're back on track.
There is nothing wrong with adding super glue to a wound. Nothing at all.
No.
Well,
I
I'm
mean,
sure that-
yeah, it's just superficial. It was the surface, so
yeah, but I'm wondering if there's like chemicals in the super glue that all these years are fucking us up.
I mean, it's possible, but super glue actually is a derivative of surgical glue that they developed during the Korean War. So I mean, that's where it comes from.
Really?
Mhm.
Like for real? Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, for closing wounds out in the field when they, didn't have other options.
So I did my this week. I did my first old person move, grandpa move. I was going out to my truck outside of work, and it was an ice storm up here. Well, not really an ice storm. It was one of those days, and anybody that lives in cold temperature stuff. So Fremo, let me take handle this because you don't know anything about that shit.
Nah,
But-
nothing about it. Nothing.
Really, you're 3 inches of snow and you cancel the town. You guys are like
no, 3 inches of snow would be canceled the state.
3 inches of snow. We're not even
But,
delaying school.
but I
up here.
was born on the Upper Peninsula of Michigan.
Okay, so that's cool.
I know a little bit about snow.
So we started on Friday. It started off as snow, and then switched to sleet, and then to
Yeah.
rain, and then it dropped down to like 4 degrees at night. So it was just a sheet of ice everywhere.
Yeah, nice little block of ice.
Yeah, so I'm going out to my truck at lunch, and I start doing the whole Home Alone thing where I'm like pedaling like a Warner Brothers cartoon. And after doing 30 years of martial arts, my balance is still pretty good. So I was kind of upset when I started going down slow. I'm going down. This is not good. I'm like, well, I can take a bump. I'll be all right. And in my head, I'm thinking 3 points of contact. I'll be good. 3 points of contact. And then my foot just slipped out from under me and I landed. And I hurt like hell.
Ooh.
And I'm like, and people are coming by. So I'm like, somebody's not going to be able to stop it. They're going to run my ass over. And I'm a big guy, so it's not going to be like they can miss me.
Yeah, you're more worried about how much you're going to have to pay for the damage of the car.
Correct. I'm going to take out a whole fender. So
Yeah.
I figured I should get up and get back in. And when I got in, I felt like an old man. Like the side of my pants was all wet.
Doing the old shuffle thing.
Doing the old man shuffle. I'm like, oh, I forgot my phone. And one of the guys like, did you hit your head? Are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. It's not that bad. But they're like, are you okay? Maybe you should sit down for a little bit. Let me go outside and get your phone for you. I'm like, you don't have to do that, but thank you.
Does 3 points of contact, does that count if one of them is your nose and another one's a forehead?
I believe it does.
If you manage to catch both those at the same time, like with a hand.
As long as you have a hand down, yeah, you're good.
Yeah, and
You're
those are your
good.
other 2 points.
Uh-huh. Yeah, pretty much. So we got a pretty decent show this week. Not a lot of news going on, but some quality stuff. A couple of shut up. I'm starting the damn
nothing
news.
big's happened this past week at all.
Well, we don't really cover that sort of stuff. Plus, I got into a whole fight about that. You know what? We'll talk about it.
BGFG News. You heard it here third.
So the first up in this week's news is we got to talk about it a little bit since FreeMoz pointed it out. I got into a whole debate and argument about what's going on in Russia and the Ukraine and shit.
Oh, that's not what I was referencing, but yeah, sure.
Oh,
go
wasn't?
ahead.
What was it? I thought I thought for sure you were referencing that. I'm just going to skip right over that shit then, because it's all about a debate and it's all about misinformation. It really is, and it really saddens my heart. Like I heard on the daytime news programs, like this guy, this reporter sounded like all in shambles. Like the whole world's going to end. And he was talking about how, the Ukraine exports, we're going to be in a shortage of corn. We're not getting gas. We're not getting oil. I'm like, what? You're talking about the fucking Ukraine here. We literally, when they left the USSR.
Trust me, they'll use it. Go ahead.
When they left the USSR, we were basically like, hey, you guys thinking about democracy? They were like, yeah. We're like, cool, we'll help out. And we gave them an allowance.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. But there's a whole nother level to that. And it's not look, people, we told you 100 times if we told you once, do your own research. Not for right now. Look back at what is important between Russia and Ukraine, and you'll find the answers that you're looking for of what the real thing is that's going on. Because it's not what you think, and it's not what's in the media at all. In any way. There's a reason why, like my daughter called me all worried. I'm like, we're not going to war. Trust me. This is a matter for them. There's a reason why there's not video of news anchors with their shirts rolled up and their ties loose with a helmet on trying to explain to you like when it was happening. Because it wasn't a significant event, and then eventually they send local people out there. What were you going to say?
Well, it's not significant yet. And depending on how it plays out, it could just be the end of it. My biggest concern with this whole thing is if this gives China the attitude that, oh, well, they're not going to get involved in regional conflicts.
Disputes.
So let's take Taiwan back.
Yeah. Yeah, but
that's
again,
what scares me.
I don't know if we should, and again, we shouldn't be getting involved in the Russia-Ukraine thing, but I don't know if we should not be getting involved in the Taiwan-China thing. That's a big difference.
You think it's hard to get chips now?
Yeah. It'll be
You worried about Chinese cyber warfare with the current technology we receive? Let them get a hold of Taiwan.
Yeah.
There's no point
semiconductor
in buying
business.
electronics again.
No, there really won't be. Look,
Not if you're worried about cybersecurity.
That's a fact right there. I mean, China, we owe a lot of money to China. We do. Look it up. We do. They own the marker for a lot of stuff of ours. And Taiwan, they export like so many semiconductors and things that we use on a daily basis. So that's a worrisome thing. But let's get into something a little bit more interesting, Fremo. Like, let's start off the week with some follow-up news. Like, for instance,
what was the name of Ice-T's heavy metal band?
Body Count.
Oh, okay.
Why? Where are you going with that?
Do I really need to explain that in light of what the first story is?
No, you really don't. So, what he's referring to is that another associate of Jeffrey Epstein is found dead. I technically got the segue. I technically got the segue. It was
That's
late,
the
but I
biggest
got
softball. That is the biggest softball I've ever put out there.
it was.
Just- Where are you going with that? Nowhere. You're going absolutely nowhere.
Well, what we were
Anyway.
alluding to is that another associate of Jeffrey Epstein is dead. And it's going to make you wonder. A modeling agent from France who was an accused associate of Jeffrey Epstein was found dead in his jail cell.
Also, like Jeffrey Epstein, also like a lot of other people who potentially could have exposed a certain unnamed former
what? There's
world
like
leader
how
and
about-
or his wife / partner.
let's throw an S into that because there's plenty of world leaders that were involved. There's pictures of Trump coming out of an elevator with Jeffrey Epstein.
With his wife / partner.
There's royalty from England that are involved in this. There's a lot of people. So he was under arrest for his involvement.
U.S.
with,
president.
Couple
Initials are. Oh, wait a minute. Who's that? Jazz
Orange
funk dude.
Jazz funk dude.
George Clinton.
Yeah. Rhymes with Mill Blinton.
First name sounds like Millery.
Another one you might want to add to that is sounds like Ronald Rump.
Yeah, right.
Who came out of an elevator. Look up the video. He came out of an elevator with Jeffrey Epstein at a party, fixing his tie, being all suave and trying to dance and shit. You got one of the princes, not princes, but one of the dukes, I believe, in the UK that's involved in this. So this guy.
And what about, what's that thing? You got a fence, and then there's like an opening, and you put something over the opening to maintain the integrity of the fence line. What's that called?
What the f are you talking about? A border?
If there's two of them there, and they open up gates. That's what they are. Gates.
We're exposing everybody, people. So the guy's name was Jean-Luc, which I think is funny. He was under arrest for an involvement in rape and sex trafficking of minors.
I wonder if, like, you know how in America you always, like, the killers always have like 3 names.
John Paul Gacy,
Yeah.
Billy Bob Anthony. I don't know.
Yeah, you know, John Wayne, what's his name? You know, whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
I wonder if like the dual name thing in France is like that. You know, the Jean-Luc.
Well, you know, the guys. Speaking of follow-up stories, the guys that were convicted of, who was it? Trayvon Martin, Ahmed Arbery, that killed him. You know, those guys. Travis McMichael, Greg McMichael, you know that they stopped using their middle names in the court hearing because it's going to sound too bad, like you said. I got 3 first names. Those 3, not only did they get life sentences, but they just went up for federal hate crime. Those three are never getting out of jail. Even the guy that was holding the camera, William Bryan, he's only.
Oh, hold
he's
on,
only.
hold on. I gotta do something here. Apparently, there was an update to Microsoft Edge, and I keep getting this alert saying "Be the first to know," and that would totally wreck our thing. So I got to turn that off.
Yeah. So those three, they just got handed down a federal hate crimes conviction as well as their other one,
Yeah.
and they're doing life without parole. And that guy that was holding the camera, and this goes to show you people, everybody wants to pull out their camera when something bad's happening. You could be caught up in that too for not doing anything or not calling anybody or just taking a video because you're not helping out. The father and son got life in prison without parole, and Brian got 30 years. He's like in his mid to late 50s. He's not getting out. He's probably going to die in prison.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's I again, we try not to touch on the politics of situations too much, but I'll just say I don't have any problems with the way this came down.
No, not at all. Especially when
None.
you see some of the video or anything else. And we've all the stuff, all the information that you see in the news and in the court hearings and stuff is all information they got from their smartphones. All information they got. And we've said it before on the show. Apple will give you everything if you got a warrant. And we talked about this when they had the shooting. We said it before when we deconstructed the Florida military base murders. We deconstructed that because the FBI and the NSA were contacting Apple, and they were coming out and saying, "Oh, Apple's not giving us any information." Well, a company called Penlink that tracks criminals said that they can find anything in the cloud backup, and all you have to do is serve Apple with a warrant if you're law enforcement and a court order, and they will give you everything under the sun. They will not allow you to hack into the phone, but they will give you everything. And this company, Penlink, said you can get everything. And Freemo and I do this for a living. Not track down criminals, but do tech. We do tech in
or hacking iPhones. We don't ever do anything like that.
No, never. That would be illegal, Freemo. So, but we can tell you that when it comes to your iCloud backup and what's on the servers, there is a lot more than you think. You might be thinking
it's not just your pictures and your text messages.
Yeah,
and your iTunes.
No, it's pictures, it's messages, it's your call log, it's who you called, it's where you were, what time you were. Now, what I found interesting,
all the metadata that goes with everything, GPS records, all of it.
Well, ironically, you know who they go for GPS? They go to Google. They said that Google can get within 3 feet of a precise location of where a person was. Apple's not that good. They kind of give you a roundabout area. I know with the new trackers from Apple, you can get a little bit closer, but they kind of broke that already. They released it, and then people started, really kind of, I don't know,
stalking,
targeting, stalking and targeting people. And there's nothing you can really do about it. Look at all the apps that are out right now. I think that's a bunch of bullshit, man. These tracking apps are bullshit. So when I first, I've had conversations with my wife way back where we were turning on location services.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, what are you going to do that for? Look, I'm a firm believer in, and I don't even know if we've had this discussion. My wife and I know each other's passcodes for our phone. We don't hide anything because there's nothing to hide. So if you're in a relationship and you're hiding your phone from your significant other or they're hiding their phone from you, you got to kind of ask yourself why, in my opinion. It's privacy. Well, we're in a relationship. How much privacy do you need? If you're married, that's different than when you're dating. When you're dating, I can see the type of privacy type thing. But when you're married, there's really not any need. But the worst thing are these new tracking apps. And this was just blown the fuck up. And Freemo and I could talk extent about this. Yeah. Because it's really bad. But you need to understand how the spyware works. So most of these are nation state backed, which, you're going to have to expect. It just is. But a lot of them you're not going to get. Like, I know a few Chinese students that go to colleges that come to us for tech help. And a lot of the ones from China use a specific app to contact their loved ones in China. But the app is literally riddled with spyware and malware. It's just riddled. you have to kind of accept that and you move on from that. But usually this type of spyware targets journalists and activists and human rights defenders, things like that. But there's a whole nother level of this stuff that I don't think people realize.
Yeah, the private sector. We'll call it the private sector
Sure.
spyware.
Most of them are sold under the child monitoring software. Now, let me make this abundantly clear. FreeMo can speak more on the Android side. I can speak more on the Apple side. Apple absolutely has you covered with the Find My feature. You get the Find My feature that can find anybody's phone or watch as long as they're on. I can tell where my kids are. If they say they're going to the park, I can look at my phone and know that they're at the park. That's simple.
Right. Unless they turn off location services.
Right, and then they get punished when they get home.
Right.
And they get their phone taken away. But another one of these names for these child monitoring softwares out. Do they have that in Android? Like, do they have something like that? Like a Find My?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So another name for the child monitoring
I
software.
would tell you they had it before Apple, but that wouldn't be a surprise.
That's such bullshit. So the other name for these type of apps is called stalkerware, and they can track anyone.
Yeah, and they bypass. They basically give themselves root admin credentials, privileges, all of that. So even if you turn off location services, it's still broadcasting, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, and I don't think you people realize what these can do. So your significant other, before you break up with them, puts this on your phone. You don't even know it's there. And they can upload call records, text messages, photos, browsing history, location data. They can even record calls in some cases. And as if these weren't bad enough on any platform, on Android, it apparently exposes another hole that allows remote access.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Fremont, I'll tell you, remote access, I've had a few come through my work where I'm like, no, this lady's... And then when they get the phone to me, I'm like, oh, it's an Android phone. And I'm not disrespecting Android. They make some fine phones. That flip phone is really nice. I think it's really nice. I do. I think the flip, or the fold. Is it the fold or the flip?
The Galaxy Fold. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's the fold. Really nice phone. When you open it up, it's just as big as your iPhone. So I like that phone. But on that platform, you can sideload things third party. And a lot of people are doing that because with Apple, it's a walled garden, which has its negatives. But at the same time, a lot of these apps aren't getting in there.
Right.
All I can tell you is follow the link in the show notes, and you can see the findings that this website did over a month-long investigation. And it was
what's
scary.
Crazy is they still haven't released. I mean, you and I can read between the lines on what's going on there. But they haven't actually released what the vulnerability is other than the type of exploit.
Right.
Because they don't want all the people out there that can exploit this vulnerability to go out there and do that.
So if you're a person that's worried about this, here's some of the names of some of the apps: Copy9, MX Spy, The Truth Spy, iSpy-O or iSpy-U, Second Clone, The Spy App, Exact Spy, Phone Tracker, and Guest Spy. Those are just some of the really notorious ones, but they all do it. It's pretty freaking scary. There's also a link in the show notes that tells you how to remove it if you find it, because it's also, go figure, not easy to remove.
Well, yeah, it definitely go out there and check this out, because you can't, with most of these, you don't even know it's on the phone. There's not a app, there's not an icon showing up in your app list. Nope. If you go into, like on Android, go in and look at all your apps that are installed, it may or may not actually show there.
Right.
But the one link that he's got in the show notes does a good job of walking you through how to see if something might be on there that you're not aware of.
Yeah. And don't think that, like, the big companies know that this is a problem. They know that it's out there. And let me and Freemo be the first to tell you, when it comes to the social media apps, they don't give a shit what you think. Not even a little. They're getting paid so much money to put these apps out there, or to not plug the hole, or whatever you like to do.
Yeah.
Look at Instagram. They're supposed to be the best of all the meta apps. And meta, I mean Facebook. but they're supposed to be the best out of all of them in a lot of ways. Not so much anymore, though.
Let's just go ahead and call it what it is.
What?
Matrix.
Yeah. Yeah. Ready Player One. It's just.
I mean, seriously.
Do you know
And
that they
I have to
spent.
tell you, I'm very, very disappointed in Fro.
Why?
Not only is he buying into the whole we got him an Oculus 2, for Christmas.
Crap.
The dude went and got a custom head thing for it, to attach the
Yeah.
Oculus 2 because the one that it comes with was just,
Not good enough.
yeah. So the one he gets has a magnetic battery pack. And the Oculus 2 has its own battery internally as well, right?
Okay.
And the head thing has the battery pack on the back. It's magnetic. You snap it in and out. It's got the USB-C cable that goes over and plugs into the Oculus for charging.
Yeah.
So essentially, you never have to take the thing off and charge it.
Yeah.
I mean, if that doesn't scream Matrix 1.0.
Yeah, it really does. I mean, we're getting to that. Look at the people. Go look at the movie Surrogate. It will change your mind.
The next step is they'll sell the custom head thing that actually feeds off your brain energy
waves
to keep it charged.
You can Matrix was a fun movie and it was good to watch and you enjoyed it. Ready Player One was fun and it made everything look good. Oh, we having a baby come in? Oh, look at that! Look at that little baby. I feel bad for everybody on the audio.
Tell me.
He doesn't want it. If you're watching on YouTube, you're getting a good picture of a good-looking young lad.
Yep, that's Noggin.
Nice. I can't even hold my granddaughter yet. She's too small. I'm too big.
Yeah.
But what I was saying with that is that Matrix is all good and fun and exciting. I can't wait to get in that world. And even Ready Player One, for those of us that are gamers, are like, man, that's cool. I like that idea. Yeah, go watch Surrogate with Bruce Willis. Because that's the way it's going to go down, people. Really, that's the way it's going to go down. 100%. Because you're going to have...
It's had many names over the years. Skynet, Matrix.
So, Instagram in 2018, they introduced an option set, or an option to set daily limits with reminders to be sent when the time limit's reached. Great idea. Thank you very much. Good job.
Yeah.
Now, after the latest update, the set daily timer, shit, oh my God, I haven't even kept up with the freaking stuff.
The new lowest possible limit is 30 minutes and it defaults to 3 hours. And that's if you have it turned on.
Yeah, if you're watching the video, I actually have a screenshot of the options itself. And after the latest update, the set daily time limit card pops up and lets you choose how long the limit is. And like FreeMoz said, it starts at 30 minutes. It's not 5 minutes or 10 minutes anymore. It starts at 30 limits. And guess what it defaults to? 3 hours.
Yeah.
It defaults to 3 hours.
And that's if you have that setting turned on. If you don't have it turned on, then,
But that's Meta. They're always thinking about us.
Oh, yeah. And how to keep you engaged so that they can continue to sell you more stuff.
That you don't fucking need, ever. Man, that sucks. Well, that's really all for the news this week. And I have some exciting news for music this week, I think.
It is.
Yes. So it's not a banger. It's just new. I haven't grown really warm to it yet. I think it's a good track, which is why we put it on the show. It's new music from Red Hot Chili Peppers. It's called Black Summer.
Can you believe how long these guys have been putting out music?
30 years.
They're gonna be the Rolling Stone of our generation.
I agree, 100%. And it's still, all their music is solid. Still, it's great.
Yeah. They've gone through their phases where some of their albums you were just kind of like,
questionable. Well, the stuff with Dave Navarro wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't John Frusciante, but it was still it was not too bad. So we're gonna take our break. We're gonna listen to some music. Grab your drinks, grab your smokes, whatever you're gonna do. And on the backside, we're gonna get some fun with GPU news. We're going to get to some new announcements coming out in gaming, which is kind of exciting. And then I'm going to tear into some bullshit that I saw happen on the news. We'll get into that. So right now, let's get into Red Hot Chili Peppers' Black Summer, and we'll catch you on the other side.
A lazy rain am I. The skies refuse to cry. Cremation takes its piece of your supply. The night is dressed like noon. A sailor spoke too soon. And China's on the dark side of the moon. Hit me now. Platypus are few. The secret life of Rue. A personality I never knew. Get it on. My Greta weighs a ton. The archer's on the run. And no one stands alone behind the sun. It's been a long time since I made a new friend, waiting on another black summer to end. It's been a long time and you never know when, waiting on another black summer to end. Back the flaming wheel, a sailing on a censorship, riding on a headless horse to make the trip. Been a long time since I made a new friend, waiting on another black summer to end. It's been a long time and you never know when, waiting on another black summer to end. I've been waiting, waiting on another black summer to end. I've been waiting, waiting on another black summer to end. I've been waiting, waiting on another black summer to end.
There it was. Black Summer, Red Hot Chili Peppers, new music. I do believe it's new. Anthony Kiedis still looks jacked.
Yeah.
Flea is still insanely talented. John Frusciante is talented. Chad Smith is unbelievably talented. And they're all it's one of the few bands that I wanted to meet that I haven't met. And everybody that has met him said that they are just the coolest people, just the nicest people, genuinely kind. Especially Chad Smith. They're like, Chad Smith will crack you up the whole time.
Well, that's because it's really Will Ferrell.
That is true. That is true.
I go back and watch that clip of him and Chad Smith doing the drum off.
That was so
Night
good.
Show every so often. That and
So good.
Cowbell. That's always a good one. But
Yep. As a musician, there's a video running around with this little girl. I think she's from England, Nighty or Nady or something like that. Little tiny girl, phenomenal drummer. She just gets it. She's worked with Dave Grohl. She challenged Dave Grohl. Dave Grohl accepted. Funny stuff. She's in a room with Chad Smith and oh shit, not Jason Bonham, Greg Bissett, who's another studio drummer. So those that don't know, you can be a musician, that's well and good. When you're a studio musician, it's another level. Like I could never be a studio musician. I can barely read sheet music. It's just not something for me. But I know a couple of studio musicians, and they're on another level. They're on another level.
Those are the guys they call in because you're recording an album and you need a specific sound on bass for a song. You call this guy up. He comes in. He listens for a second, maybe looks at the music sheet for a little bit, and then it's like, okay, let's do this.
Yeah. They also get called in if you have a drummer or a guitarist or somebody else that's out of commission or away or sick or something like that. Yeah. They'll come in and fill in that bass line or even go on tour with them for a couple of shows. If you want to see how that process works, watch the making of the Halo theme with Steve Vai, where he just sits down and goes, what do you want me to do? You want me to do it here? And then just felt it and went with it. I mean, that's a whole nother level. So let's get into, before it gets too much, and we oh my God, we should do another rock show. We should do another rock show episode. We really should. Anyway, so let's get into this week's gaming.
Gaming.
I fixed it. That's right. We go from the Christmas one to the worst intro I have ever made in my life. That is awful. And I swear we're going to keep it just because.
I can't do a whole lot on this segment.
Oh, I see what you did there. You can do plenty. You can still game. Buck up, little camper.
Trust me, that's one of the things I try every day after I do my initial exercises of stretching everything out. Is see if I can hold a controller and manipulate the left side of it.
Come on, thumb. All right, so what are we drinking this week? I got Miller Lite again. I got a tall boy.
I'm on water at the moment.
Oh, what a bummer. Let me help with that.
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep the redness out of this finger. So I've been
I found that whiskey helps a lot with that.
I thought about just soaking it in some kerosene, but
light her on fire. We're good with fire.
Price of kerosene is way too high.
If you've been following us long enough, we're good with fire.
Oh yeah, expert with fire.
Absolutely.
There's nothing I can't burn with fire.
That is a fact. I've seen that and witnessed that shit in person. There is nothing he can't light. So let's get into the GPU news first. And I saw a 3080 Ti Founders Edition live. In my hand, I held it. It wasn't open. Closed box. Somebody at our store did not pick it up. They actually canceled their order. When that happens, you could put it back in circulation. But because of what it is, and I kind of disagree with this. So this goes back to like if you're Best Buy's Total Tech member, you can get it early. And that goes for a lot of different stores, and I get that, and I can go either way on that. But when something like this happens at a lot of these stores, Target, Walmart, Best Buy, GameStop, if you order something and then you cancel it because you found it someplace else for cheaper or whatever the case is, and you cancel it, it goes back in circulation, but you can basically pick it up. You can buy it online and pick it up at the store. Where I disagree is they should put that shit on the floor. Because I might not be checking my email. If I'm walking through the store to get a USB cable or some shit, and I saw a 3080 sitting there, you bet your ass I'm pulling out my credit card. I don't even need it. Like I have a good.
I would have just not canceled dude's order. I'd have just paid for it out of my own pocket.
I can do that as soon as it comes into circulation. I choose not to. Because again, like I was saying,
I'm saying as far as anybody was concerned, John Doe, who had placed the order for it, bought it.
Oh,
It just happened to go home with me.
You can't do that, Free. You can't do that.
If I paid for it,
that's granted. The company's happy they got money, but there's going to be. We had one card.
Hey, I'm in case the guy changes his mind at some point down the road, it will be available to him. All he has to do is pay me back. I'm preserving his purchase for him.
Funny you should say that, because the other day somebody must have got a 3080 regular edition online, came to the store, picked it up. Another guy came in prior to him, big jacked dude, and said, yeah, so you got it online. We're like, no, we don't have any, man. We don't have any. Online it says you had some. Even if we did, they're sold out already, man. It's 2 p.m. You know, the store's been open. Those people come at 10. That motherfucker waited outside, Free, because the guy behind him got one, and he heard him. And there was a couple of us that were just kind of waiting at the door. I was all set to go out there and take on this jacked dude, this musclehead, because this kid got it fair and square. Whether he used the butt or not, he got it. And you're gonna try to beat him up outside. That's what it seemed like to me. He was gonna try to kick his ass outside and take the card. This is getting legit out here, man. We had that
guy probably thought he was going to get rich off cryptocurrency, so he needed that card.
Oh yeah, because that apparent now you can circumvent that firmware the firmware on the 30 series cards. Now you can do crypto again.
Yeah.
I mean, like I was saying before with the 3080 Ti that I had in my hands, I'm not hurting. Upstairs I have at the stick style machine, it's a 2080 Ti. That thing serves great. I'll use that for years. Down here at the production, I have a Radeon 7, which I really, really like. It's great for what we do. And then the Mac's the Mac. You know, it's...
Unfortunately, I can't do anything with that.
Bullshit. That is such bullshit.
Bullshit.
That new chipset is great. And as soon as they start making games for you, you're going to eat your words.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, because you know me. Once they start releasing games on Apple, I'll be all over it.
You're such an asshole.
It's just a shame you can't see what finger I'm holding up.
You know what else I'll be all over?
What's that?
PlayStation's VR 2.
Really? You thinking about it?
Can't wait. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's Sony, so
my God. You need that one instead. Look, the Sony is a good machine. I got one right here. I got the PS5 upstairs. Why can't you let the hatred go?
So is Apple, but there's just certain things I won't do anymore because of things that have happened.
Why do you have to be like this? We're getting older. You don't have to hold these grudges no more. Stop holding a grudge against Sony and stop holding a grudge against Halo. As your friend, I'm asking you.
If Sony will give me,
oh God,
in writing,
yeah,
I don't even care. I don't even care if it's a stamped signature, but mail me
an apology,
a piece of paper with an apology.
Oh,
for their shady digital rights management software.
That was a long time ago, Free.
Look, just because the court of law has a statute of limitations doesn't mean I have to.
Oh, that's well done. That's I can't even. That's having principles. That's what that is. So what he's alluding to is the PlayStation just announced their VR2 headset. No, I had the first one. I ended up selling it. I had the first one, and I have to say, out of all the games, the Star Wars one was fun. If you're a Star Wars fan, you're going to love it anyway, whether it's good or bad. Same thing with the Doctor Who one. I'm a huge Doctor Who fan as well, so that was great. But for me, the selling point on that original VR was Battle Tank, the one you used to play at the arcade.
Yeah.
You sat in a chair. I tell people all the time, don't bother standing up with this game. Sit in a comfortable chair, straight on with the TV, and you sit in the tank. You can look to your left, to your right. You're sitting in the tank. It's friggin' awesome. Now, this PlayStation VR 2 is going to be 4K HDR as you're seeing it. It's very, very much like the wired Oculus. So you just saw the Oculus. Have you used Froze yet?
Oh, yeah. We got one here at the house, too.
I've only used the PlayStation one. Both my sons have Oculus, and they just simply won't let me play it. I haven't even had a chance to try either one. They just won't let me. But this is apparently like a
and that's why they make NyQuil.
and loaded with some Benadryl. They're good to go. So this new VR is going to do up to 120 frames. Of course, that's going to be on the PS5 because it's capable of doing it. It's got 110 degree of field of view, which is great. If you play first-person shooter and you haven't adjusted your field of view, I encourage you to do that to as much as your eyeballs can accept. It's going to really better the game. And at 110 degree, that's pretty on point right there. The thing that amazed me, there's a couple of things that amazed me. One of them was the eye tracking. So it's going to be able to track your eye movements, which I think is going to be really good when you start getting into those games, like the dungeon games and such, where you don't want to come around a corner, you know, as opposed to an open world one. The headset's going to have feedback, so expect a concussion. Because yes, everybody, FreeMoz and I are the douchebags that if we know you have that, we're going to come up and melee you from the back.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to aim for the head to get the biggest possible vibration as we could. And I'm really hoping, honestly, with all kidding aside, I'm really hoping they have an adjustment on that because there is going to be some kids like my youngest that are going to get head trauma if they get hit too hard in the head. They're little guys, man. They can't be taking this full motion feedback, especially if you turn it up like all the way.
Yeah.
It's also going to have four
cameras. That's what I'm waiting for to get see the news article of the first a-hole that dies from having a full haptic feedback suit on.
Well, how many people have made the news for breaking legs, arms, furniture, you know, head contusions, trauma?
Yeah, turning and slamming into a wall while they're wearing these things.
Yep. The most I've done is tripped. I turned and I lost my... I can't... Here's a funny thing. You know this about me. I have two fears. One I've conquered. I have a fear of heights. I spent 10 years with the cable company, and I conquered that fear. I'm still not happy about heights, and I'm going to be super safe when I go up one. And another one's being underground and buried. And that hasn't been cured yet. FreeMoz worked on that one, and it didn't help at all. I still have nightmares. In fact, I saw a...
you should have told me that, because now I'm already planning what we're going to try for your next visit. Buried alive, anyone?
No, dude. Oh my God, I will whoop some ass. You will see full hardcore going if somebody tries to put me. Anyway, I saw a T-shirt not too long ago on some T-shirt site that I was on that had like states and towns and different things, and they had Ruby Falls, and I was like, I just had like automatic PST. I was like, oh my God, Ruby Falls, and I looked at one of my coworkers, and I was like, yeah, that Ruby Falls doesn't look anything like that at all. I said, that might have been in 1920 when they shot that photo. I'm like, that shit don't look like that no more. I said, it's little. And I saw it about 5 seconds. I said, let's go. A mile in. Are you out of your fucking mind? Anyway, back to the PlayStation. It's got four cameras.
You made it. You
did.
You only looked gray and sweaty twice on the whole trip, and those were kind of some tight spaces for guys our size. But
even you got pissed off at one point when that kid was hitting the ceiling and it was a narrow space.
Yeah.
And I was like, we're gonna fucking die. But yeah, for those that listen to the show, I was sweating like a hooker in church.
I had to pay you back for the whole clam somehow.
Yeah, the clam thing was you turned all sorts of gray, man. You weren't ready for whole clams.
Gray, green.
Oh, that was
There's
bad.
no telling what shades I turned that day.
So as you can see, those that are watching the video, as you can see, the PlayStation VR 2 looks like an Oculus essentially. There's one cable that's going to connect to the front of the PS5. The Sense controllers are going to have haptic feedback and adaptive triggers, just like their controllers. And FreeMoz, when you come up here, I can tell you right now, you have to try the controller demo at the very least on the PlayStation 5. And I say this because whether you like the PlayStation or not, the way they've worked the adaptive controls is what every console should have, and they should be using it on every game. It should be an automatic. You know, think of it like this. If you're pulling a bow in a bow and arrow simulation or a situation, it will give you tension and fight back until you get it all the way down.
Right.
it's really, really nice. No price or date have been set yet, but rumors are it's going to be out in the holiday, which is going to be nice. And in other big news, the official reviews of the Steam Deck are starting to surface. So let me get your thoughts on this, because I never got to ask you about the Stream Deck when it was announced. I believe we were still in COVID when it was announced, I think. But what do you think of this unit?
In light of what's happened recently with Steam, it may not be as successful as it could have been. But
What do
other
you
than
mean?
that, I think it's a good idea.
Wait a minute.
I
What do you
think
mean?
it's- What do you mean? What do I mean?
What happened with Steam?
They're going to lose a decent portion of their catalog.
Yeah. Shit, I forgot all about that. With all the sales and acquisitions that have been happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to kind of suck.
I mean, Microsoft ain't going to lease them nothing.
No fucking way.
That's a direct competitor. So everything Activision's off the table.
Yeah, that's true. When those contracts are done, they're done. So what'd you think of the Steam Deck?
I think it's freaking awesome.
Really? What do you
I'd actually like to get a hold of one.
Oh, me too. What do you like the best about it?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't actually had one
true.
to play with it, so I can't really
Right.
give any feedback on, as far as ease of play, that kind of thing. But I just like the whole concept of it.
I do too. The first thing you got to say is,
I mean, I have Steam on the laptop I'm using right now. As far as
Yeah.
so to take that and make it portable, it is to me genius.
Agreed 100%. It is a genius thing, and I said that the day that they announced it. But this is, and people didn't realize. I didn't realize it when they announced it. Free. This is the most launch titles that has ever been done for any sort of portable game. Ever.
I can see that.
I mean,
I wouldn't have thought of it from that angle, but yeah, I can absolutely see that.
well, yeah, I didn't think of it
Because
from that
they're-
angle either.
Because they're prior
Steam.
to having their own hardware, which they do now, they were console independent, so they had
Yeah.
stuff from everyone. So
Yeah, they were just yeah. Your
it'd
entire
just be
Steam.
interesting to see if they can maintain that catalog.
Well, I don't see why not. They're launching off with when you get it, you're going to be able to play Elden Rings, Half-Life 2, Vampire Survivors, Red Faction, Guardians of the Galaxy, Borderlands 3, BioShock. So that's a good grouping right there on
Yeah.
the Borderland. That's some shit right there. You got to, and plus your entire back catalog, whatever other games you like, is going to be available. What I really like is two things. So, Freemo, you're what, 6 foot?
3 on a good day.
Okay, yeah. So me and you are like the same height, 6'3".
Yeah.
I weigh significantly more. I'm a little bit bulkier. He's a little bit trimmer. But the one thing that we can both agree on is that all of our lives, these little games, the controllers, all this little shit feels like a little tiny pony can of beer or soda in our hands.
Yeah.
Our thumbs are touching. Think about it. Our thumbs are touching. Our fingers can touch underneath. It's not the last time we had to feel a chunky, manly. I mean that loosely, manly. A chunky, sturdy controller was the Duke controller from the
Duke.
original Xbox.
I loved it.
Yep.
I didn't
I
feel
got-
like I was going to snap it in half.
I got it right here. There you go. The original Duke controller for those that are watching the video. This is the Hyperkin version because the other one's in storage. I ain't going nowhere. But that is a good size controller. So when you have big hands that can palm a basketball, I want something substantial.
Yeah.
And this unit, the Steam Deck, is massive. It's in every way. It's just a big, heavy unit. It's thicker than a Switch. It's longer than a Switch. It's wider than a Switch. And it's got some serious weight to it. There's a lot of people that are already complaining about their forearms hurting and they have to put it on their leg. It's like, okay, yeah, do you even
But the-
lift, bro?
Bunch of pansies.
but
Dare I
uh,
say snowflakes?
but I think the real story here, Free, is the layout. So if you can, pull up a picture while we're talking about it.
Oh, I'm looking at one.
Because people haven't even, I don't think people have realized that this is a different layout. So the thumbsticks are on the top portion. So now you already have a bigger unit you can put your mitts on. But now the
Yeah.
thumbsticks, instead of being off center of each other, where one's higher and one's lower, I always thought that was very weird. These are even. They're up high on the controller and they're even. The buttons and the D-pad are on the outside of those, which I think is also brilliant. And then below the thumbsticks are these two little squares that are actually thumb pads. So if you're playing a shooter, let's say the Bounty Hunter game from Star Wars, that's on Steam. It's I wish I could remember the exact name of it right now. It's a Star Wars Bounty Hunter game that's a 4-person group. And I think it's Commando, Star Wars Commando. I want to say it is. And that game, I would play the shit out of it right now, but you can't play it without a keyboard and mouse. It's non-controller, and I'm a controller guy. I've tried keyboard and mouse. It's pretty embarrassing. It's like throwing with your opposite hand. It's really bad.
It's actually called Star Wars Bounty Hunter.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
No. It's not that one. Look up Commando. Star Wars Commando. I'm pretty sure it's Commando because Bounty Hunter's different. Makes sense. So while Freeman looks that up,
Star Wars Republic Commando.
That's it, Republic Commando right there. It's a 4-on-4. It's really cool, but it's only keyboard and mouse, which is kind of a pain in the ass. But you can also, on the Steam Deck, you can also install Windows.
The original version was released for Windows and the original Xbox.
Right, but they did not port over the controller for some reason. I don't know why, but you can't play with the controller. Yeah. I would if I could.
So that just means they only ported over the Windows version.
Right. Which is fine. I mean, I could suffer through it for Star Wars' sake, but I don't know. So the Steam Deck is kind of cool because you can also install Windows or Linux on it. And you and I have been a huge fan of installing Linux on these portables. Like, it's just a smart way to go. Because if you can dual boot, which I believe you can with the Steam Deck, and I can boot Linux, a Linux distro. Because look, if I dual boot and I put Windows on it, it's just bloatware at that point. It's just the machine's not gonna, as powerful as that thing is, it's still gonna have Windows on it. And it's gonna have all sorts of fucking problems, and it's gonna be forced to do Windows 11, and it's gonna suck life for the next 6 to 8 months. No, year or two, actually. Before they get Windows 11 straight. But the idea of side-loading Linux and dual booting from Linux in their version, which is essentially another version of Linux, I think that's brilliant. Brilliant.
It says that you can easily switch between SteamOS and Arch Linux. So I'm assuming you can run them both.
That's brilliant. And the best part, I think, which is great, so Gabe Newell from Valve said that they have no problem working with Microsoft and getting Game Pass on there. Freemo and I will sit here and tell you that is probably never going to fucking happen. I cannot see how Microsoft would ever allow Game Pass to be on the Steam Deck when you have an Xbox you're trying to sell and PCs that can actually do it. And I don't know if you've had the opportunity yet, but doing it on a PC is actually quite fun.
If Steam has got really good salesmen, they might work out a deal.
Oh, come on.
I'm just saying they might work out a deal, but Steam would have to give up a majority of their income.
Yeah, that's a fact. You know, you think Apple's notorious at 30% in the App Store? They take 30% regardless of what you're doing. Every transaction is 30%. Microsoft will eat you alive. And the thing that they dangle over you, from what I hear, is they will sit there and throw out, especially the bigger company you are and the more they kind of want you to be partner, is they will throw out the number of how many Windows users there are,
Oh yeah, that's how they get you.
which is literally, Fremont and I will tell you, that is literally half of the actual users. Or I'm sorry, not half. That's doubled what the actual user base is. Because people have Windows registered and installed on what, 3 or 4 computers if you're a geek? And they're separate licenses. So you've paid for all those licenses. And then you have the grandma that has one for 20 years. Well, I'm compensating for her. Because I bought like 5 licenses. So it makes out. So take that number and cut it in half. But that's what the dangle is. You're going to have all of this money, which is kind of nice. But what's cool?
I mean, in principle, it makes sense. Would you rather have a dollar from 1 billion people or $100 from 100,000 people?
You're awesome.
You know,
you're awesome with that shit, because that's absolutely true. And people need to start thinking like that in life, just in general. Is that, would you rather have $1 from 1 billion people, or
$100 from
yeah
100,000 people? Well, $100 sounds great until you realize you're only going to end up with 1 million.
Yeah. It's like getting that payout all at once versus the yearly.
And I'll tell you this, it's a lot easier. If you got $100 from 10 million people, you could get $1 billion. But it's a whole lot easier to get $1 out of somebody than it is 100. So
hell yeah, that's true. What I think is most appealing for this situation with the Steam Deck is, regardless of what you're using, all you need is Chrome, and Chrome to put up a patch. Now, from what I've heard from my sources, Google already has the patch to allow controller support on their Chrome browser, so that you can use Game Pass and a few of the other companies. I think the Amazon one, which I tested out, we did it on the show during COVID, which is Stadia, I think it is. I think that's now defunct, but Stadia was a thing. NVIDIA has one, and Xbox Game Pass, which I've reviewed here on the Stick Style show and on BGFG. And look, Game Pass is where it's at right now. I can't see anything. It's just really fucking good. So as soon as this patch for Chrome comes out, you'll be able to use a controller, which means you can use Game Pass. So that's going to be awesome as well on that. There's no real story yet as to the docking features or plug it in. I haven't seen anybody doing that because it's so much fun to play it on the console. But Steam Deck looks like it's going to be one of those things that are just pretty badass. There's a lot of indie games on Steam that you can get for either free or cheap money and use them on the Steam Deck, just for passing the time and stuff. And oh, by the way, one of those places that you can get indie games and play is Super Rare Games. I think you and I have both heard about those before. Super Rare Games. Remember that
it's
at
been
all?
a while since we've talked about that, but yeah.
So Super Rare Games came out with the most badass USB I have ever seen in my life. So most of the time, and we tell you all the time on the show, that even if there's a company that's giving you a free USB thumb drive, don't put it in your computer. Just don't, unless it's like a really top notch, like a Microsoft or a Steam or anybody. Don't put it in your fucking computer. If you're getting it at a yard sale or a flea market, just for safety's sake, don't put it in your computer.
Unless you're also buying that laptop that they have sitting there that's outdated as well. And then you can plug it into that laptop.
Oh yeah, plug it into that thing and let that shit just fester. I had a Mac in today, an Apple iMac. Was it an iMac? No, it was a MacBook Pro. And I swear, I actually turned to the guy at the end. I created that good rapport, and I turned to the guy at the end, and I'm like, hey, next time, can you just not click on everything you see?
Right.
And he started laughing because there was browser hijacks and shit, pups, and all sorts of stuff that I've never seen in a Mac, and I'm a Mac person. I'm just like, holy shit, did you buy every pop-up that they said? Like, every one of them? Like, Mac, you should have stopped at Mac Cleaner.
I literally, you're saying that. Someone was like, I just, my computer's gotten so slow. And I was like, oh, bring it to me. And
I love when you
first
say
thing I did was open up
What?
And this was a little while ago, so it was Windows Explorer, Internet Explorer.
It doesn't matter. It's still
In
good.
literally the bottom, I'm going to be generous and say the bottom inch of the screen
Yep.
was the page. Everything above that was add-ons, toolbars.
If you go to bgfgonline.com, there's a picture in our archive of still life that has that picture that FreeMo's talking about. It had every fucking bar in it. It was amazing because I said to him,
like Ask Jeeves and
yep,
stuff like that. But there was like browser add-on search bars that I'd never even heard of. I'm just like, where did they get this from?
oh yeah. This customer said that he had one download of a picture editing app, I think it was, and I shit you not, FreeMo, it downloaded and installed 16 other apps.
I believe it.
Because he said yes. He's like, yeah, it took a while to install. No shit. Of course it took a while to install.
He just kept hitting next. He wasn't looking at what. Do you want this too? Hit next. You want this too? Next.
I explained to him the EULA, and he said, yeah, hit next. I said, then what did the next screen say? It says something about Google. I'm like, I already have Google, so that's fine. And I hit next. I'm like, well, there you go. If you scroll down a little bit in that window, it would have told you about the 16 fucking apps it was just installing, which are awful for your computer. As soon as I cleared them all out and removed them, like everything started working. Like he's getting email, he's getting text messages that haven't been floating for a while. It was awful. Anyway, we're way off the beaten topic again because we suck. But Super Rare Games came out with the coolest USB. Look, if you're the type of person that loves hidden gems and independent games, this is definitely something for you. It's $40. It's $40. It's a bunch of games that you can play for like 15 minutes and get and have fun at. It's nothing special. I'm going to order this because I want this fucking thing. So it's a tape. It's a mixtape like you would see on Guardians of the Galaxy, or if you're a Gen Xer, this is the shit that you made when you were younger. Yeah. And the bottom where the tape would be, you slide out a USB stick and put it in your computer. I want this thing. I'll put it in my junk test computer. I will format the shit out of it. Maybe keep a couple of the games. Maybe I'll clone it. But you got to get on it quick because it's limited to 2,000.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's called the Super Rare Mixtape Volume 2. The first one sold out in like 2 days. Right before the show, I checked it again, and it was at like, I want to say like 450 units, I believe. The first time I checked, it was at 100 and something. And that was like 2 days after it launched. So I don't know if it's still available, but yeah, I got to order one probably tomorrow morning before I go to work. There's also a few under the radar, and again, look at the picture of it because you're going to see it and you're going to want to own it. There's also a few under the radar announcements that came out this week, which is kind of cool. Xbox decided to put Twitch client back on the dashboard, which is nice. They removed it about 5 years ago, and again, I understand you removed it 5 years ago because you had Mixer, which was actually a really good, better alternative to Twitch. But you canceled it out of the blue. I've built a computer. I've helped build a computer.
It's like so many things. Microsoft, they have a good idea.
Oh yeah.
They just don't give it the support and the legs it needs to stick around long enough to gain any traction.
So Mixer, yeah, and they got Ninja. They had Shroud. They had a guy that I helped build a computer for, or design a computer for. Mr. Bada Bing.
Oh yeah.
He bought dual 2080s.
Nice.
Yeah, and we connected him and SLI'd him, and it was amazing. He was pulling on Heaven Benchmark. He was pulling like a 380 frames at 1440. That's ridiculous.
Freaking unheard of, yeah.
Yeah. So he did that, and all of them got their payout and a non-disclosure. And for what he said, because again, he can't even talk about that, From what I hear tell, some of those guys got a very long non-disclosure, like years of a non-disclosure. Longest one I've ever been on was 1 year, and it was stupid for 1 year. But I can't even imagine if 1 year is normal, then or 6 months say is normal. I can't imagine what Microsoft offered them for a buyout and then a non-disclosure. So it's going to be something substantial. But that was 5 years ago. And they haven't had any way to really stream until then. You could get clips. You can make clips on Xbox, which is going to be as good as your mic is, which is fine. For us as stick style, we want a little bit more. We want a little bit extra, like some of the sound effects and shit like that. Like, we got to have a sheet in there. You know, we got to be able to call you out when you're trash. Or, you know...
Don't look over here.
Nothing to see here.
We got to have
Or
these sound effects.
You
in
get
there.
that triple kill because you get 3 dudes lined up running down the hallway at you and you bust out the sniper rifle. You want to be able to throw the fist pump in there.
I don't have that loaded. Sorry.
Oh.
Oh, because it went on too long. I got to edit it. I know. I failed you yet again.
Oh, that's
I'm
gonna
so
give you
sorry.
email.
Yeah, probably will.
I still haven't gotten past the iced tea segue from earlier.
I know. That's
Shame. Shame. Shame.
There you go.
I still hate you. So instead of using, so Microsoft, like when you take
This is the most fun-loving hate relationship you'll find on the internet, folks.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're using a Microsoft Xbox Series X or a PlayStation 5, you can take clips, and it's going to be as good as the microphone that you're using. So if you have a good headset, it's good microphone. Now on the PC, you can do the same thing, which is really nice. You can have chat rooms, not chat rooms. A room, and what you could do is, but the mic, for some reason, I mean, I have my shit connected, and for some reason, that mic sounds like absolute ass every time. It sounds like it's got 100 times more gain than I set it up as. I haven't figured out how to fix it yet without fucking up everything else that I do. I haven't found out how to fix it. I haven't found out how to remedy it. So a lot of the times, what you're hearing on stick style is me recording and then dubbing over it later with my normal mic. Or any other mic but regardless, it works. Look, it works. If you're using a basic headset, you're not looking for the requirements that Freemoz and I are looking for, and you have a headset with a microphone on it that you've dialed it in, your friends can hear you, and everything's working fine, then utilize the Microsoft Xbox dashboard, I guess you could say, or Game Center or Game Controller that's built into Windows. It's really, really fucking good. You can take
It's
clips.
actually pretty intuitive for Microsoft.
Yeah. It's like, what the fuck happened here, guys? Like,
okay, who did they buy this off of?
I don't even think they did. I honest to God, Freemoz, if I remember correctly, this was an in-house thing.
No, it was. That's what I'm saying. But very surprising.
Right. So if it's an in-house thing and they did that well, it's like, why don't you get those guys to work on everything?
Yeah, exactly.
And you know who they worked for before? I bet. Bizarre Creations.
Possibly.
Because Bizarre Creations had shit going on. Anyway, so use the Xbox Games Bar. That's what it's called, Games Bar. So use the Games Bar. It's really good. Hit Windows and then G, the Windows key and then G, and you'll see it pop up on your screen. Play around with it. It's really powerful. It's really good. Now, back in the day, you didn't need Twitch or anything else because Mixer was built into that. So it was really nice because you could record shit right to Mixer. I mean, I was literally, before they closed, I was just about to delete our Twitch account for Stick Style and for BGFG and just go exclusively to Mixer. It was just a lot easier to use because I could broadcast it, record it on slobs, and also have a copy of it on Xbox. It was just super easy.
True Microsoft fashion, they just announced that they were killing Mixer. No reason,
none.
Nothing. Just, hey, Mixer's done as of this day.
And don't sit there and tell me that bullshit if you weren't making money. How do you not making money when you paid Ninja $2 million? You paid Shroud $1 million. and that's even on the low end. You paid those guys that shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, don't even tell me that you didn't have the money to keep that shit going. You're just stupid. You're like Google. Microsoft and Google are very similar. Something works, and we're just going to shut it the fuck off.
Yeah.
With Google, it was Reader. Reader was a news app that you could just aggregate all your news to. Super intuitive, super easy. Quit it, just out of the blue, like FreeMoz said. Mixer, same thing.
And they've got some guy sitting up there going, I don't really get that. I don't understand it. Get rid of it.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It doesn't make sense to me. Get rid
Fucking
of
doesn't
it.
make
Are
sense.
you a gamer? No. Okay.
Yeah. Somebody's
Maybe
sitting
that's
at that
why
meeting.
you don't get it.
Somebody's sitting in that meeting at the other end of the table going, this fucking guy's an idiot, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what they're doing. So again, on the new Xbox, just hit the center button, which is that new button in the center of the start button and back button, I think they still call it.
Yeah.
Hit that button in the center. If you hold it, it'll take a video. If you tap it, it'll take a picture. Or a screenshot rather. If you want to switch that up, just go into the settings and switch it up. I did. So whether I tap it or I hold it, it takes a video clip of 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Very cool, very easy, very nice to use. On the Windows side, it absolutely sucks because they have to figure out their audio. They really do, because their audio is absolutely horrible. Every single time I record a clip, it's got I mean, Fremont, how many years have we been using this mic that you see in my screen right now? My Shure 55. 10 years?
I couldn't even tell you. At least.
Yeah, so it's going to be like 10 years. And this mic has never failed me. Yet when I put it on Xbox, and you'll hear it if you go to stickstyle.com, you will hear, or not Stickstyle on YouTube, you will hear how shitty it sounds. Like, it shouldn't sound that shitty. It just shouldn't. I don't have any room noise in this room. It's awful. But you'll be able to do it on Twitch now. So if you set that up in your dashboard on Xbox, you'll be able to hold that center button and stream it directly to Twitch. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Just really good. So, don't slip, because Stickstyle in 22 is going to come live, because all of us are eventually going to get that new Xbox, and all of us are going to be logged into Stickstyle, and you're just going to hit that button, and bang, you're going to have another clip of somebody doing something stupid.
Yep.
But Sony didn't want to be outdone either, Free.
No, they're trying.
And which is good. There'll be an option to let PS5 users access their clips and screenshots on their phone app. Now, the Sony phone app is really good. I know you hate Sony, but so I'm the only one that can talk about it. But the Sony PlayStation app is really kind of cool. Xbox copied them on it, but now you're gonna be able to edit your videos on there too. So that's definitely cool. You can only do 3 minutes of clips right now. So if you record 30 minutes, it's only going to record the first 3 minutes are going to go up to the cloud and onto your phone. Understandably, because a 30-minute video or a 4-hour video of you streaming is going to be way too big for your device. They're never going to be able to do it. And there's no 4K on that as well, which I'm okay with too. I think that's overrated. I really do.
And that's only available right now. I think the Americas is the only place it's available right now.
Correct.
They tested it in Canada and Japan. They released it to the U.S. And then, I say the Americas, like North America, South America. But it'll be coming to everybody else at some point.
Right. It's definitely gonna be cool. I like that idea of, my goal is to be able to take anything we do and just shoot a clip. Anytime. It's fine to record. It's definitely fine to do live, but getting the clips is where it's at. Capture a clip. On our Stickstyle site, we've got over 2,000 followers, and we've gotten a bunch of likes and shit like that, and mentions and stuff with clips. My son has actually gotten a couple of people that are signed to some, I can't remember what it is, but they're known, I guess, for like, God, that sounded old. No, let me refine that. Oh, that sounded awful. So they're influencers on YouTube that saw a clip that they did, That's really good. He's really like just destroying people, and they want to use that clip. So again, notoriety.
Yep.
So we're getting there. We implore you, as always, before we end this segment, go to Stick Style on YouTube. Follow us on Xbox. Follow us individually. I am Chris Phoenix. He is FreeMoz. There's no weird numbers or bullshit. We're still OGs. Follow us on the Chris Phoenix is pretty much everywhere at this point. Just follow us, and it's just a good time. It's low key gaming. There's just ball busting and nobody getting angry. If you get angry, you get booted. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
Like you could be heated because somebody didn't do something in the game with you, but if you're like legit have heat with somebody, you're out. It's just If we don't kick you out, you should
and I'm
just
going to
leave.
tell you right now, you get in there and you're gaming with us, and we end up losing a match or a round or a race or whatever it is we're doing because we stopped to celebrate, but because we did something
Monumental.
which you may deem insignificant, but we
Too
pulled
bad.
it off. Yeah, just be forewarned.
Yeah.
We don't set out to lose, but it does happen from time to time when we get distracted.
Yeah, it does. All right, let's get into the last segment this week, and I can't wait for this.
Yeah, there's definitely going to be some hate mail coming my way on this one.
Yeah, and I don't even give a shit. I really don't. So I'm what, a pint into this now, and 2 beers, and I don't even give a shit because this is appalling. So for what it's worth this week, we're talking about the gigantic piece of crap of the retired police captain Curtis Reeves.
Yeah.
And I don't even give a shit about the people that are going to send
that's
this.
gonna give me some hate mail.
I don't even care. I don't even care if it's going to get us hate mail because you're a piece of shit. It's just that simple. Oh, you don't know him. He's such a kind individual. Bullshit. He was in a fucking movie theater. This former retired police captain, Curtis Reeves, shot and killed Chad Olson. He was on a date night with his wife.
If this doesn't sound familiar to you, that's because the incident happened like 8 years ago, and it's just now he's been acquitted.
Right. Because, and the reason why is because this shit got brushed over all the time. If Fremont and I told you about this, we told you that shit gets brushed under all the time. It's just absolutely ridiculous, and I hate it. I really, it turns my stomach. So whether you see pictures of Chad Olson and you start judging him, that's cool. That's fine. You might think he's not the type of person that you hang with or you have a beer with or anything, but you don't know the man. I don't either. Okay? But nobody deserves to be in a movie theater. Check in with their family babysitter while you're out on date night.
Yeah.
Get told by a guy during the previews of a movie. You get told by an old man sitting near you, shut with the phone. Shut off the phone. It's a movie theater. What's wrong with you? And you turn around and go, fuck you.
Yeah,
And then
I mean,
you
it
get
could have been
shot?
handled differently by both, but the way this ended was totally unjustifiable. And the fact that they have made it justifiable is just...
You know what? I somewhat
pisses
agree
me
with you.
off.
No, I somewhat agree with you, Free. For the first time, I think possibly forever. I somewhat agree with you. I agree that the end shouldn't have happened, period. But at the same time, you're in a fucking preview.
Yeah.
You're not in the movie. You're in a preview. If the lights have dimmed and it's going dark, bitch and moan. Yell at that person for using their phone. Now, if they get an alert or something and their phone's too bright for you, I'm sorry about that. That's on them, and that's shitty, and maybe say something. I don't know. But if you're literally taking a phone call and it's the previews and the lights are still on, man, fuck you.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, there was no reason for any of this to even have happened. But even if the old crotchety dude was, being an old crotchety dude, and then the other guy was just like, yeah, whatever, it's not a big deal, deal with it, verbally disrespectful, however it all played out because we weren't there. But the way this ended, completely wrong.
Agreed.
Should never have happened.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's getting away with it just tears me up.
He was fucking acquitted, people. He was acquitted. He used
Yeah,
the
that-
stand your ground
that-
law that's in Florida, and he claims he felt threatened and he was using self-defense.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit who you are.
The guy supposedly, well, I don't say supposedly. Apparently, they did determine that the guy that got shot did throw his popcorn at the old guy. Okay, fine. Shitty thing to do.
What was that,
whatever.
Free? What did he throw at him?
He apparently threw his popcorn at him. Like, I don't know if it was like the whole bucket or bag or the handful or what, but apparently threw popcorn at him. That's not really being contested. The old guy said he also threw his phone at him, but nobody else has backed that
Popcorn.
claim up. Yeah, and even if he did throw his phone, I don't care if he took his shoe off and threw it at him.
Right.
That's not justification for pulling your gun out and shooting somebody and killing them.
Not at all. Not ever. Not ever.
If you really truly felt that threatened, you're sitting in a crowd of people and you felt that threatened, you had plenty of opportunity to remove yourself. With plenty of witnesses, you wouldn't had to have worried about someone jumping you from behind, whatever.
Right.
Especially if you're armed, you stand up, you flash the gun, you back out of the theater, and you go talk to management and have him removed.
This isn't a group of
Demand
kids.
a refund, go see the movie another day, whatever. But you kill somebody?
It's not even a group of kids that was starting shit. It's not even a group of kids. This is a guy going on a date night with his wife. I do this not all the time. I do it once a week with my wife. We have date night. Whether we leave or stay home, it's still date night. And to be shot, what the fuck is up with that?
Yeah.
And the stand your ground law, you're going to use the stand your ground law. And what do you do? Defend yourself against fucking popcorn? I don't give a shit if you're 80 or 18. It's popcorn. Grow the fuck up.
Yeah.
You shot that man because you have a God complex.
Yep.
And you're right, Free.
Oh, that's going to give me some hate mail.
You're 100% right.
And on top of that, he knew he could get away with it because of who he was.
100%.
And, here's where, and I'm, God, I don't want to go here, but I'm going to. All right.
Do it.
I don't think that all the news that you hear, all the opinions that you hear about white privilege in this country are accurate. I don't think it's this systemic thing that some people make it out to be, but it obviously exists. Case in point.
100%. When it comes to
This dude got away with it because he's of who he is. Now, maybe you call it connection privilege or something else, but he happens to be an old white dude. So there's no way you can look anybody straight in the face and say, well, no, he doesn't have white privilege. Obviously he does.
Not to sit there and
burns me up.
Oh, it does. Because not like we're not sitting there, we're not making Twitter posts and Twitch shit and Instagram posts about how Black Lives Matter. No, Freer and I don't think that way because we've always grown up as Black Lives Matter because it's part of us.
Yeah.
Black is just somebody that's, I don't know. I can't explain it. My brother's black. You've adopted kids of color. To us, it's different. We're not in it because we're white.
To me, black is an adjective describing something. That's
Right.
it. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree 100% because it's just like when I had one person call me racist one day, I'm like, what? They're like, you're racist. You're a white privileged racist. Right.
And I just laugh.
You're a white privileged racist. I'm like, how am I privileged? Well, you didn't get arrested for that. Bitch, you know how many times I've been arrested? Or detained? Detained on a Friday is the fucking worst because you wait for the magistrate. Like, we wouldn't know this shit if we weren't in the shit.
Yeah.
Just because they would sit there and turn around every 5 minutes and go, hey, my brother's black, doesn't mean I don't understand the plight, And you're going to sit there and use a stand your ground rule to shoot another person? Now, granted, that other person was white. If it was black, it'd make national news. It should still make fucking news.
Yeah.
Because it's a person.
He never should have gotten away with it. I don't give a crap that he's 70-something years old, retired police captain. If anybody should know when to actually pull the trigger, it should have been him. And that was not the time to do it.
100%. It's complete bullshit. And it pisses me off. It really does. The only thing that could have made it worse was if Olsen was black. That's it.
Well, and that right there makes me pissed for a different reason.
Right. And there's different situations. Before we start getting all sorts of fucking hate mail, I want to make it abundantly clear. There's all sorts of situations that you're going to have the black argument and the white privilege argument and the racist argument. There's going to be all sorts of situations, all sorts. Yeah. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that doesn't exist. I'm not going to sit there and say, I don't have white privilege. No, there's certain situations where 100% I've seen it happen.
You know how I forget the lady with the scales and the blindfold. It's got a name anyway. That our symbol for the justice system.
Lady Justice.
Lady Justice. That's it. Okay.
Dumbass.
She's blindfolded, right? It's supposed to impart that
blind justice
is blind to
correct race,
external
creed, color,
factors that don't matter, color, income, etc.
Religion. Yep.
We should absolutely not be allowed. When it goes to court, they shouldn't be allowed to give descriptions, adjectives, things of that nature. Just cut and dry facts. In fact,
I agree.
Actually blindfold the jurors. Put them in a box where they can't see the people, but they can hear what's going on and hear the facts. A, B, C. This is what happened. We have witnesses that corroborate this. You don't know that the guy that's on trial for shooting someone is 74 years old, has a wife and 17 grandkids, and everybody loves him, or he was this, that, and the other. Just cut and dry facts. This is what happened. Two dudes, movie theater. One guy was on his phone, other guy was pissed about it. One guy says something to the other guy, popcorn gets thrown, guy B shoots guy A. Is this justified? Yes, no. No, it's not justified. Send his ass to jail. That's the way it should work. Period. For everybody.
I agree with you, but there's somebody on that jury saying, what was the situation? He threw popcorn at me. Who the fuck cares? You shot somebody dead.
Yeah.
Like
he called me a boomer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you are. You fuck.
But I'm calling you a dumbass. You gonna shoot me now? I mean.
Yeah, really. It's like that. And the thing that really bugs me about this is that you have, this old guy that's sitting there, but like somebody like Ahmed Arbery is dead for jogging.
Yeah. Because
two racist fucks decided that he needed to be stopped because he looked like he was doing something wrong. This is no different. No different. Yeah. Now, you know what? I take that back. 100%. It's different because that kid was black. But the unjust is still the same. It's not justified. Regardless of how you cut it, it's not justified.
And that's what I'm saying. The reason one happened versus the other is different, but the fact is neither of these deaths should have happened, period. And the people should have been appropriately
right.
What's the word I'm looking for? Punished. And in the one case they were. In the other case, the guy got off scot-free.
Anyway. I don't even yeah. We don't have anything else this week.
Before the soapbox gets any bigger, we should probably just end it there.
I agree. Please feel free to send us email. Love us or hate us. We don't give a shit. Follow us on Stick Style on YouTube. Follow us on
if you want me to respond,
on
actually make it hate mail. I love responding to those.
Yeah, he does. I've had to actually curb him a couple times. So if you really want to get shitty with him, go ahead. We're also on Twitter. So if you send me a DM, I'll forward it to him. BGFG Online, I believe it is Stick Style Show. Or BGFG Show and Stick Style Online.
No, it's BGFG Online.
Yeah, you'll find us. So just go ahead and do that. And that's it for this week. Tense Down, show's over.
So you can find more of this garbage at bgfgonline.com. You can also send us an email with your questions or suggestions at bgfgshow@gmail.com. Find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Overcast Podcasts, Castro, Castbox, Podchaser, and YouTube. Thank you for listening.